What can viewers expect to see different as the NHL returns to the network?
Well, first of all, it's great to be with you and to be in an ESPN studio for the first time in 17 years is terrific. Listen, ESPN, the worldwide sports leader in terms of promotion, in terms of production. As it relates to hockey, we've had a number of meetings, our operations people and the production people in Bristol to talk about what we can do that's going to be innovative, whether it's more cameras closer to the ice, maybe on the ice in certain circumstances, using overhead cameras, relying more on data. We have puck and player tracking, which we're going to be using this year. So there are going to be a lot of broadcast enhancements and a lot of shoulder programming. And so if you're a hockey fan, ESPN is going to give you a ton. And if you're a casual sports fan, you may give us another look because of the way ESPN's covering us.
You know, Gary, playing for Duke, we won multiple championships, and you saw how much, the NCAA marketed around that. You see Tom Brady, New England championships, right? You see another dynasty on the verge in the Tampa Bay Lightning. Yeah. How great is that for your sport due to more notoriety it brings to the sport?
Well, it's interesting because one of the things we really pride ourselves on is our incredible competitive balance. When you look at our regular season, every game matters. We have teams that make or don't make the playoffs by a point or two. Most of our races go down to the last couple of weeks. With a couple of exceptions, everybody's in it till virtually the end. And our playoffs, we don't think there's anything like it. Our first round is unbelievable, and anything can happen. And so we think the more people that get exposed to our sport, the more you can get connected to our sport, the better the growth will be of our fan base. And when you look at the fact that we have probably the most avid fans in all sports, not the largest fan base, but larger than some people have suggested, we think that the opportunity, particularly with our new U.S. media partnerships, to continue this great growth is going to be terrific.
Or these idiots who would suggest such a thing. Outrageous.
Really?
Commissioner,
yes.
It is interesting that
who was that?
It's unbelievable. Hockey is, well, I was referring at the time to the total economy of the sports of NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and NHL. But it's interesting because hockey as a sport is so fast-paced that the trick has been like, as opposed to football where there's not a lot of action, in fact, but it's a build-up, build-up, build-up. There's the event and then a breakdown. In a way, it lends itself to TV. And you mentioned the innovations now in covering the sport and how important that is to bring it to a TV audience.
That's a fair observation, but what I will say is there's nothing better in person because we have more action in the time frame in which we play than any of the other sports. It's emotional, it's edgy, it's fast, it's exciting. Momentum swings become very apparent. What we have, though, is an opportunity to bring more of what you get in arena at home. And you're going to see more and more technical innovations. The fact that our deal with the Walt Disney Company, with ESPN and ABC and ESPN Plus and Hulu looks to the future in terms of the delivery of our game to more platforms, which means over time, second screen experiences, looking at different ways to watch the game, to give fans, particularly younger fans, millennials and Gen Zs, what they want and how they want to consume the games.
Commissioner Gary, I gotta ask you this because if I didn't, I wouldn't be doing my job. What is the latest you can tell us a little bit about the Evander Kane situation and the fake vaccination card for COVID-19? If you could share any insight.
We have an ongoing investigation which is in the home stretch, and once the investigation's concluded, we'll make the findings known, and to the extent any response is required or is appropriate, we'll do what the situation and the facts dictate. We take any allegations against any player on issues of importance. We take them very seriously, and we'll do our homework in a fair and objective way to make sure we get to the facts to the best they're ascertainable, and we'll take it from there.
What are the latest numbers from the league and the percentage of players who are actually vaccinated? And what are your reaction to those numbers?
It's actually incredible because for us, we finished the 1920 season in the bubbles, particularly the Stanley Cup final was played in Edmonton. We had to adjust last season to deal with the fact, among other things, that we couldn't get teams in and out of Canada. And so we've been very focused on how we need to respond to COVID with respect to the health and well-being of our players, our other personnel, and the communities in which we play. So now to answer your question, it's incredible. We have 4 players on the opening night roster who are not vaccinated. Not 4%, 4 players out of roughly 800. All of our officials are vaccinated, and all personnel who come in contact with our players have been vaccinated.
Commissioner Gary Bettman, NHL Commissioner, of course, on Keyshawn, J. Willimax, ESPN Radio, and we thank you for coming on with us today, Commissioner. It also, the NBA got a lot of credit for the way they handled the handling of the COVID and the bubble and everything, and it seems like the NHL did not get as much, although it was handled in a very similar kind of way.
Well, I think we were the first to go into the bubble and return to play. I think that just may be your myopic view of hockey that gives you that. We got a lot of credit for what we did, and we were actually credited with being leaders in that regard. But listen, with all due respect, and it's one of the things, why it's great to be covered again by ESPN, you tend to lose sight when we're not an ESPN property of all the good things that we happen to do. But we're really proud of what we did. By the way, in the 18 months of COVID, in addition to completing one season, playing another season, doing close to 400,000 tests, we managed to extend our collective bargaining agreement for 4 years. We managed to complete the seasons, as I said, and have effective protocols. And we entered into 2 major U.S. media arrangements, partnerships moving forward. And I think we either renewed or signed 17 new business partnerships. So we've had a very strong run. We've actually come out of the last 18 months about as strong as we could have.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.